The Republican National Convention will kick off in Milwaukee today. We're going to show you a live look at where former U.S. President Donald Trump will officially be named the Republican presidential candidate. Joining us from that city is Adrian Morrow. He's there covering for the Globe and Mail. That is the room where it happens, as they say in Hamilton. Adrian, good to have you with us. I'm really curious. You're in Milwaukee now. How has the tone changed since Saturday's events going into this convention? Now, I imagine there's a change, but I'm curious what it would be.
I think there's less change than you might expect it to be. I mean, Trump really, I think, set the tone actually in the very moments after the assassination attempt with his sort of, pumping his fist in the air and shouting fight to the crowd. People are sort of ready to all systems go. And, we've heard from the RNC that they're not going to change anything, that they're sort of going to go straight ahead and do what they were planning to do. We even heard that their security arrangements are not going to be any tighter than they already are, and that the security here is pretty tight. I think it adds a sort of additional impetus to what they're going to do here. And I think the big question will be, to what extent does Donald Trump sort of refocus his comments, and the other speakers sort of refocus their comments into trying to bring people together and tone down the political rhetoric and push back against the culture of political violence in this country, or do they sort of go ahead and do the sort of fiery rhetoric that they were anticipating doing anyway? So I think to a certain extent, Trump is going to set the tone when he speaks tonight, but it sort of remains to be seen exactly how much the rhetoric is going to change here, because so far the sort of determination, I guess, to kind of go forward and have a relatively, quote unquote, normal convention, whatever normal means in this political environment, seems to be pretty intact here.
Yeah, we got a small sense of it in just 2 words on his Truth Social post, which just says "Unite America." We'll find out a little bit, I imagine, in expanded form, what else he has to say about that, what that looks like. There was speculation on Saturday that one of the things that he was going to announce in the speech that he was on the platform to make was about a running mate. So that is expected to be introduced at this convention after he is named officially as the nominee. Who are the main contenders again? Remind us of that.
Yeah, so J.D. Vance, who's a senator from nearby Ohio, is up there. He's a very close friend of Donald Trump Jr. He wrote a book called Hillbilly Elegy that to a lot of people sort of explained the Trump phenomenon, or at least one aspect of it, of working class voters in the Rust Belt who turned towards why they would turn towards somebody like Donald Trump. But he's sort of done a 180 in his politics. He was an anti-Trump Republican at one time, and then sort of came around and changed his views completely, and is all aboard the Trump train. Another one is Marco Rubio, senator from Florida, ran against Trump for the Republican nomination in 2016. Is sort of fresh-faced, a national security hawk, and somebody who represents, to a certain extent, the kind of older, maybe Reagan thread in the party that's a little bit less nationalistic than Donald Trump, so it maybe sort of balance the ticket out that way. Doug Burgum, governor of North Dakota, he's a sort of quieter, more of a gray man type, but the sort of person who might be sort of in there as a moderating or temperate force on Donald Trump. Those are sort of the 3 that get bandied about the most at this point. The odds seem to favor J.D. Vance, because I think Trump is very likely to want somebody who's of his own ideological ilk, given that Mike Pence, as previous vice president, was not, at the end of the day, did not do what Donald Trump wanted him to do at the very end. So I think Trump wants a loyalist like J.D. Vance, but we'll see. All three of those names are in the mix now.
The convention is 4 days long. So after the initial address by President Trump, everybody's eager to see sort of what he looks like, what he sounds like, what he has to say. We still have 4 more days to talk about the issues. And the lack of a call for a national ban on abortion, that's fueling opposition to Trump from within the Republican Party. How could that shake things up during this convention? You've got almost, you're expecting 50,000 people to be in Milwaukee, but, how does that issue affect what happens in the 4 days?
Yeah, it's interesting in that Donald Trump in some ways is going to put forward a platform, or I mean he's already sort of put forward this platform that's going to be embraced by the convention that goes further on a lot of issues than the Republican Party has in the past. The way he wants to be able to replace a lot more civil servants with political appointees, wanting to round up undocumented immigrants, and these sort of very kind of Trump themes. But on abortion, it's one of the few areas where they're likely to kind of moderate their stance and go for this sort of leave it to the the states, position that Donald Trump has. I think there certainly will be some complaining about it from anti-abortion groups. This is something that's been an article of faith for the Republican Party for 40 years. But that said, Trump's dominance of the party is so complete that I expect that there will be grumbling, but I don't know that it's going to result in any sort of real groundswell of opposition to him here at the convention. I think the larger issue that they're going to have is trying to find a way to motivate some of those hardcore social conservative voters to come out and vote for them despite, to basically be able to go to them and say, yes, we've compromised on one of your big issues, but you should still come out to the polls in November and vote for President Trump because of X, Y, and Z other issues. So I think that's most likely where the game is for them, is trying to sort of keep those people motivated.
You and I and all the people who are watching to see what President Trump will look like, what he sounds like, what he has to say when he takes that stage a little later today in Milwaukee. Adrian Morrow with the Globe and Mail, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.